and welcome back to Couples Consoling.
I'm Allie.
And I'm gearing up to get some grinding done.
Okay.
Allie is back at the controls.
Yes, I am.
Hey, you know what? You want to talk to that doctor over there? He seems helpful. We already went and healed up in between the episodes.
Trainer first and a doctor second.
Trainer first, doctor second. Great with that Hippocratic oath. Solosis. That makes sense for a doctor.
Yeah, being a Pokemon trainer does kind of...
eat up a lot of your time.
Well, I was gonna say contradicts the being a doctor. Mm-hmm. What type is Solosis?
It is psychic. So if you were to use, Scald should be fine. What was that move it just used?
I have no idea. Okay, burned it.
What was... Okay. Things look fine to me. Oh, it makes sense that the doctor would have the healing items.
Yeah.
But okay, so at the end of last episode, I started talking about an idea that I've been working with, and I want to elaborate while we are grinding.
Okay.
Okay? So, you know, if politics isn't your speed, if you don't want, where are you going?
I don't know. I was facing that direction, so I went that direction. Just level up in the sands?
Well, let's fight the trainers.
Okay.
I bet there are a bunch that we haven't fought yet.
Alright.
But so...
I will go trainer hunting.
You know, like I say, if politics isn't your speed, you know, I respect your right to disagree and get out of here. But on a grinding episode, this is probably the place to talk about it.
Yep.
At the time of recording, we're like right before the first 2020 Democratic primary debates.
Debates plural, because they had to split it into two.
They had, yeah.
They have like a varsity and a junior varsity team.
Which they tried hard to not do. That thing is part raw.
I should switch.
Don't you think?
Yeah, I'll switch.
Yeah, that, I mean, it's still part rock.
Whatever.
I'm sorry, whatever?
It's got 11 levels on it.
Okay, fine.
9 levels. I can do math. Okay.
If this does a lot of damage... But so I said something at the end of last episode about that's so annoying.
Yes.
About how we're going to get another Trump unless Democrats take a more progressive economic path. And I wanted to say more about that. Have you ever heard of the so-called Watergate babies?
People who grew up during the Watergate scandal?
No. See, the Watergate babies were a wave of freshman Democrats who came into office in the wake of the Watergate scandal.
Okay.
And these were Democrats who were mostly interested in social issues. You know, civil rights was a big one. Mm-hmm. And there was this big internal split in the Democratic Party at the time between old Southern Democrats and the new Democrats who were, you know, not on board with the racism of the Old South and really should have been in a completely different party, and they just happened to be stuck together. So you had all these Watergate babies come in, and they basically took the power from the old racist Southern Democrats.
Okay.
And for the most part, that was a really, really good thing. Except, this happened at a time when the old Southern Democrats, even though the old Southern Democrats had mostly fought FDR at the time, they were sort of the ones who inherited his economic legacy.
Just like side note, David spends a lot of his free time reading presidential biographies. Just FYI.
Pokemon and presidents. I like things that begin with P.
You're a polymath.
Yeah, I want to be. I am nowhere close, and I am so slow at reading the biographies. I don't think I get to claim it as a real hobby or anything like that. But, so, yeah, the Southern Democrats lost power, and the new guys didn't have much interest in economics at the time. You know, they weren't huge on fighting for unions or breaking up monopolies. At the time that this was going on, you know, we were actually doing pretty well. You know, it was America post-World War II still, even though it had been, like, what, 20 or 30 years by that point?
Something like that.
But, like, the Civil Rights Act in 1965, that got passed in the biggest economic boom since the end of World War II. Okay?
Okay.
And then, you know, all the Democrats came into power after Watergate, and then Jimmy Carter did a horrible job.
Yeah.
You know, there's arguments to be made about whether or not he deserves... Have we been in there?
I don't think so.
Let's check it out.
Continue, Jimmy Carter.
Relic. So we have been in here, and I think this is... Yeah, we've been in here. This doesn't count.
Alright.
But, yeah, so Jimmy Carter screwed everything up, and then Reagan came into power, and with it came this pro-business idea. Scald is probably the more powerful move.
Oh, well.
The economy took a hit in the 70s and started really bouncing back in the 80s. And businesses after Nixon had gone down in flames realized, okay, if the Republicans are going to be the party that's really, really for us, we need to reshape them.
Mm-hmm.
So business came in, completely reformulated the entire Republican Party. Reagan came out. Greed is good became a thing.
Oh, Reagan.
Yeah. He crushed, I believe it was an airline workers' strike, which, by the way, you can draw a line from the airline workers' strike to today. Ever since unions got crushed by the federal government that hard, they've been unable to effectively fight for good wages.
Well, I mean, considering the minimum wage has not changed in how many decades?
Oh, I just saw some news today. We have officially gone longer than any period since the invention of the minimum wage without raising it.
Yeah, no, I saw that this morning.
Yeah.
Although New York City, $15 minimum wage, can I get a hell yeah?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
But
considering everything in the city is horrible.
So expensive.
I paid $20 for a sandwich once.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, God.
But
I made it last for 4 days. I was angry. Anyway, continue.
But so, another change happened in the 80s, by the way. This was the rise of the idea that shareholders were the most important part of any business.
I groan because I hate shareholders. I hate that whole system.
There are 3 parts: customers, employees, and shareholders. And it used to be that shareholders were on the bottom. And in the 80s, that switched. Mm-hmm. And so now, right now, under Trump, we have what by most economists' reckoning is a booming economy. And yet, these are the conditions under which wages should be picking up, like water.
Yep. Oh, sorry, shit. Sorry.
Yeah, whatever. But
no, because the thing about the recession in 2008 is businesses realized they could get away with austerity measures.
That is one thing, yeah. And then
so, why would they raise rates back up if they could keep it cheap?
Yeah, well, so that's the thing. Without, strong labor laws and unions to fight for wages being high, we've ended up with this problem that people need jobs more than jobs need people. You're always going to find someone willing to do a cheaper job. You know, someone needs a job to live more than a business needs a janitor. It's just that simple, without something else evening out the scales. And so right now, you economists are, or at least certain economists, are all surprised because they're like, well, this curve was supposed to go off and wages were supposed to go up, and it just didn't happen. But I've gone a little off track. The point is that Reagan came along, business was good, government was bad, and Democrats couldn't fight that for a long time. And so that's why Bill Clinton comes along, and he basically threw out the entirety of economic progressivism. You know, there's a reason that he repealed some of the most important safety legislation passed in the wake of the Great Depression. The Glass-Steagall Act prevented investment banks from being commercial banks. So the commercial bank couldn't take your money, the average citizen's money, and then go gamble it on Wall Street where they might lose it.
Smash cut to...
Smash cut to the 2008 recession. Yeah. But, and then Obama came along, and he was way too careful about the economy post-recession. You know, we needed to break up, so no.
I know.
Yeah, let's switch to something else.
Smug Life?
Smug Life should be fun.
And then let's get back to town after this.
I mean, we can just go to the doctor,
right,
and he'll heal us.
Okay, right. Sorry about that.
But, yeah, Obama didn't move aggressively enough to fix Wall Street. And so we're due, the culture didn't change. We're due for another recession like that sometime soon. Probably.
Very soon.
Yeah, which is deeply frustrating.
Also, so the thing about saying unemployment is down, it's very misleading because who counts as unemployed has changed. And, like, underemployed does not count as unemployed anymore.
Right.
So, like, there are a lot of part-time jobs, but, like, you can't string enough of those together to make a livable wage.
And what's more, I think 30% of people are employed in America that still live below, I think it was $12,000 a year.
Yeah. Can I also point out, retail stores that, like, only give you 15 hours a week but demand you be on call for the whole week suck. Just putting that out there. Continue.
Well, okay. So, let's heal.
Yeah.
So, while this has all been happening, we've seen wages stagnate. We've seen corporations gain more power.
Burn.
Yeah. And they've been able to walk all over state and local governments. People, more and more people are living paycheck to paycheck. More and more people are living in small towns where the economy has just been wrecked. And those people are easy prey for scapegoat-based rhetoric. You know, they can say, oh, it's the fault of the Mexicans coming in and stealing the jobs. It's the fault of the government paying too much to black people on welfare. Ooh. How much does that do?
Let's find out.
75 special. And Aerial Ace does... Yeah, let's forget Aerial Ace.
Yeah, it's sort of like the whole, like, green, you know, eco-friendly movement where, oh, you can go vegan, you know, people will blame people for not turning off their air conditioners for global warming, but really it's corporate farming that is... It's
sort of like that, but this is more top-down. You know, this is more people at the top blaming people on the bottom for problems that the top is causing.
Yeah.
So, these people, these scared people living paycheck to paycheck in areas where, you know, Walmart came along and destroyed all the mom and pop stores, they're easy targets for racist, classist, sexist rhetoric. Just blaming stuff on the immigrants, on minorities, on foreigners. And I think you can draw a straight line between the economic conditions today and the rise of people like George Bush and Donald Trump. I think you need to fix the economy in order for our society to progress properly. And here's my big argument on that front. Because everyone always talked about how bad economic conditions lead to terrible instability and fascism and authoritarianism. We see that in Nazi Germany. The economy was terrible. It allowed racists to scapegoat people and take power. We see that in Russia before the Communist Revolution. We see that in France with the French Revolution and all the bloodshed there. So we know that bad economic conditions and a lot of economic inequality leads to horrible situations. What we don't talk about often enough is that when people are in good economic situations, when they feel secure, when they feel safe, they're less scared and less prone to xenophobia and scapegoating. The two biggest civil rights increases of the 20th century were the passage of the 19th Amendment, giving women the right to vote, and the 1965 Civil Rights Act. The 19th Amendment was passed right before the Roaring Twenties at the end of World War I, when the American economy was going gangbusters. And like I said, 1965, that was the biggest post-World War II economic boom up until that point. Which I think you're fine to use Scald.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will heal. Next turn.
Okay, yeah, that is a little disconcerting. So, I'm not saying that, like, getting money flowing will stop everyone from being xenophobic or racist. I think it just provides that extra little buffer to make sure that their fear doesn't overtake all of them. You know, if we can stop, like, just 2 or 3% of these people who are in dire straits from looking to people like Rush Limbaugh and Alex Jones.
Who is being tried for child porn right now.
Yeah, that's fascinating. If we can stop them from turning to people like that, we have such a better chance to have a stable, functioning government and society. And so right now we've got Joe Biden running for president, and he just gave this speech about how he's not going to beat up on the billionaire class, and he doesn't think rich people are the problem.
Yeah, well, because now there's a split in the Democratic Party between old establishment Democrats who don't want to rock the boat too much and want a middle-of-the-road candidate, and people who want a radical candidate, like the Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez crowd.
Yeah. Well, so the old people, when interviewed, say, well, we've seen what happens when you reach too far. You lose elections if you try to get too much. And I understand how they come to that point of view, but...
But, I mean, the DNC also kind of sabotages stuff. You saw Howard Dean.
Oh, no, the DNC definitely picks favorites. But I think the more salient point here is that these old people are saying that when we reach too far, where we don't have a good outcome. And I'd like to point at our current culture and our current politics and say, this is the good outcome?
Well, like, every time we have a moderate candidate, we lose. Hillary Clinton, Al Gore.
Well, so I'm not sure about how moderate Al Gore
John Kerry.
I've got this big theory about how we're in an election cycle where we're so good at campaigning and so bad at governing that we're basically 8 years on, 8 years off, and every time a party is out of power, it nominates moderates to run against incumbents, and they lose, and then a more radical candidate comes along, and beats the new candidate of the other party while the incumbent is going out. But that's a whole other topic. The more salient point here is that I don't think Joe Biden or any person who's moderate on economic issues is actually going to offer us the stability that centrist Democrats want. Leonardo should be fine.
Okay. Continue.
Yeah. But so yeah, you've got these older Democrats saying, don't reach for too much or you'll get a bad outcome. We learned to moderate our views, and so we got good outcomes. Well,
Did you though?
This isn't good. The fact that we're here is directly a result of not
Picking a radical candidate.
of not going with the hard but necessary economic policies we needed to pursue.
Counterpoint, though.
Yes.
Hillary.
I think ancient power.
Ancient power. Okay. Hillary lost the election.
But won the popular vote?
Yes. So if the Electoral College just wasn't a thing, we would have a Democrat in power right now.
I hate the Electoral College.
It's a dumb system.
Yeah, I have very, very strong feelings against it. And Hillary did win, except in the states that our country has said matters more than all the others. So
It's like, I get that, I understand the want for lower population states to not feel trounced upon by the high population states. But it's gotten to such an extreme that like we worship Ohio and Iowa, and ignore the rest of the country.
Well, and not just that, like South Dakota, North Dakota, Nevada, Oregon, you know, between them they have like 8 senators and like a population on par with like Pennsylvania. It's just Pokeball.
Yep, I'm on it.
It's just completely out of whack. But so Hillary did win
Firestone.
That's cool. So Hillary did win the popular vote, but we're still stuck in that cycle, and if she had been elected, I don't think she would have done the necessary economic work to stop
I'm gonna go buy
someone
some more potions and stuff.
Sure. To stop someone like Donald Trump or George W. Bush from rising again in the future. So if we want actual stability, we need to do some harder change than we've been willing to do. Mm-hmm. But that's just my opinion. That's a theory I've been working on to help me decide who to support in the Democratic primaries.
I do think it's interesting how Warren, when she was down for the count, just pulled out every millennial Trump card. No student debt, climate law.
Did you see that
giving people relationship advice on Twitter?
That was hilarious.
That was amazing.
Did you see that tensions are ratcheting up between her and Sanders?
Tensions as in...
Oh, people are like fighting over the differences between them. Like, oh, Warren doesn't support Medicare for all, and yeah, I wish you should have used the flying move.
Sorry.
But
sorry.
There are important differences. But what are you...
I'm distracted by talking about this. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, I'll use the right move next time, just...
Okay, honey.
Shut up. I'm smart.
Yes, you are.
I'm smart, but I don't think I can have intellectual debate and focus on Pokemon at the same time. It's like walking and chewing gum at the same time.
If Dewey's gonna be fine.
Dewey's gonna be fine.
But if Dewey had died from that...
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I will heal next turn.
You don't have to. The feather dance you used is protecting us. That lowers speed, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. But yeah, so Warren and Sanders.
The simple fact is that people on Wall Street, referring to both of them, basically say any Democratic candidate except Warren or Sanders. There's a, not
Yeah, because they want to take down Wall Street.
Yeah, exactly. Not to say that Wall Street is, like, inherently evil. There is a place for investment. Why don't you go north? There's a place for investment in our society, but it's grown completely out of control.
We've left it unchecked.
And it's completely untethered from reality. At this point, its primary societal purpose should be to make sure that startup companies get adequate capital. And right now, it's basically just very, very elaborate gambling. And it needs to be taken down a few pegs. It just does.
I mean, I've seen trading places.
But, so millionaires and billionaires, they're not... I think that by certain moral arguments, they inevitably have to be defined as bad people. But...
Well, I'm not a religious person, but isn't there a quote in the Bible, it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God?
Yeah. Hyper potions, I guess?
Yeah.
But,
Not religious, but I do know that. I do know that one.
I'm not gonna argue that, because that's such a hard place to stand and say, oh, they're all bad people.
Yeah, it's a big generalization, but, like, at the same time, I'm looking at what some of these politicians are doing for money.
Now that we fought all those trainers there, why don't we go to the new route just outside Driftvale?
Okay, how do I get there?
So north, and then left.
Okay.
But so in order for our society to be properly insulated against fascism and authoritarianism and extremism, we need money flowing for all of us. And the simple fact of the matter is, one part of our culture is taking up way, way too much of that money, and we need to siphon off some of that to make sure everyone else has enough that we work.
Well, it's like Henry Ford giving everyone a day off so they could go buy stuff. Like, the economy doesn't work when you deprive people of the ability to spend capital.
But with the rise of shareholders being the most important thing...
Fucking shareholders. That whole system is messed up.
Well, everyone wants to live in a society where Henry Ford's ideas work, but no one wants to lose the money from doing it.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to cut corners.
Yeah, because they've learned they could, and their business won't go under. Ooh, what's this?
Ooh. Big Pearl, we can sell that for money.
Yay.
But...
yeah, it's like, why would businesses have any incentive to raise wages or have better working conditions? Yeah. Because they've realized they can get away with it.
Yeah,
Their business will still function.
So, not that way. Not that way. Yeah.
There we go. Okay.
I bet we can find a whole host of trainers to fight here, and we can take them on next time.
Thanks for coming to Allie and David's Pokemon Politics Hour.
Yeah. We hope you liked it. We like Pokemon and politics, but we'll try to keep the politics maybe to more of a minimum in later episodes.
We'll talk about the economic ramifications of Team Plasma taking over.
Exactly. We will analyze that next time on Couples Consoling.
See ya.
Bye.